Hi, thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to have a look at this kit here, which is a magnifying glass kit. Our magnifying glass kit is a reasonable size, 2.5 inches in diameter. My apologies for the rustling as I get it out of the packet. There you can see, I'm not sure whether that will focus. You can see some bits in the background of the workshop there, but it's a 24 karat gold plating. With this single fitting at the end. Again, this isn't a tube kit because we didn't want to be limited by how big you can make the handle. So this basically can be as big or as small as you want. The other advantage or advantages of this not being a tube type kit are that you don't need any bushings for it. You can also use this with some other jointed parts to make an adjustable desk set if you didn't want to do just a plain handle. But today, just to show you how simple this is, I'm just going to do a quick handle. I've got some of Ancol here. This blank is 160 mils long. It's not particularly big, about 23 centimeters square. We're going to pop that into the chuck on the lathe, do a quick turn. It's basically just a tenon and then a handle as you want for a basic handle product. But we'll pop this on the lathe and see how we get on. So I'm going to pop my blank into the chuck here, and you will lose a little bit in the chuck, but obviously you need to make sure that it's properly secured in there. And I'm just going to bring up the tailstock just to make sure I've got it in the centre. And that needs to be nice and tight and secure. I'm now just going to turn this round. You can use the tailstock for support if you want to. I'm going to do that just while I turn it round very quickly. So that is very roughly round. The next thing I'm going to do is just take my project kit and I'm just going to get the depth of that section in there, and that's telling me 12, I don't know whether the camera will pick that up, 12.53. So just over 12 millimeters long for the tenon that has to go in this section here. So I'm just going to mark on the handle now. I'm not going to cut the tenon yet, because if I cut the tenon now, it's going to make this part weaker when I turn it, particularly this end where I'm going to have to take the support away. So I've got the markings here on the calipers already. So I'm going to put a little mark there and a little mark there. That's going to tell me where the tenon is. And when we come to remove this, it doesn't matter if that's a bit longer, because when I take this off, I'm actually just going to use a saw. And you can always sand the end off and sand the end by hand if you haven't got the size absolutely spot on. So there we've got the marking of where the tenon's going to be, and the rest of this is basically just shaping the handle whichever shape that you like and finishing it off. So that's what we're going to do now. Now we've done our basic shape, we're now going to cut this tenon and then we can finish and polish. So again, I've used the calipers just to mark on here, and we need it to be just a fraction smaller than the tenon there, just to give us a little bit of tiny room for manoeuvre in there. Not too much, just enough to get a little bit of glue in. That says 11.76. I'm going to lock those off and use that to measure the end of the tenon. So the tenon is the right size, and now what I'm going to do is just tidy up this end just a fraction, because we are going to see this end of the handle. And that's now ready for finishing. And of course, if you want to add a little embellishment, you can do. Just going to double check this length here, because we said it needs to be around about 10 mils. That's around about 10 millimeters there. Let's put a little mark on there. And just another little bit of advice with these. If you polish this with wax, just make sure you don't get any wax on this bit, because the tenon part is where it's going to have to be glued. And now you could obviously pass off with a tool if you lay a tool if you wanted to. Now I'm just going to tidy that end up manually with a little bit of scrap sandpaper, and also fetch the kit over. And we'll now see if they fit. There we go. Well, there's the basic handle that we made. As we said earlier, it can be whatever size that you like, because you're not limited by a tube. It's quite an impressive looking kit. It's just been glued in the end there, and it's quite good and solid. And you might be surprised how often you use a magnifying glass in this day and age of nano printing. So as always, we hope it's been useful. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email. Always happy to hear from any of our customers. Do visit the website. Please follow us on Facebook. Until the next video, thanks very much for watching. Bye bye now.